What is going on, everybody? All right, so for today's vlog, we're going to talk about what do you do when you've had your house sold conditionally, and right before the conditions are up, the buyer and the buyer's agent come at you and they're asking you for some sort of reduction, or they're trying to change the deal around because of the inspection. What do you do and how do you move forward with it? Please keep in mind there is no one-size-fits-all answer for everybody. Everyone's situation is going to be a little bit different, and you have to evaluate your own factors and see how you want to move forward yourself. However, I'm going to give you guys a few examples. So a few years back, we did a deal on a condo, and they did an inspection for it, which is already out of the ordinary because most people don't really bother doing inspections with condominiums. They came back at us and they said, hey, we're willing to move forward with it. They waived their financing condition. They waited to the very last day for the actual inspection condition. They said, we're going to move forward, but we want a $5,000 reduction because the hardwood is in bad shape. So first of all, the hardwood is not a deficiency that you're using the inspector to find. Hardwood is a visual component that you're going to see on your first showing. It's not like we hit it. That's something you should have negotiated with that in mind when you first brought the offer. So I sat down with my clients, we reviewed. We had tons of activity before we got this offer. It hadn't been on the market for too long. We felt fairly confident that we'd get another offer if this deal were to fall apart. So we moved forward and we said, okay, thank you for the offer, but we're not willing to reduce $5,000. Best of luck to you if you decide to decide to walk away. They ended up firming up the deal, and everyone was happy. So that brings me to the next point. A lot of times, agents and the buyers are using the inspection period to try and squeeze a few more bucks out of the deal. All right, it's not fair, it's not good, but it is. That's the name of the game, and it does happen quite often. But that's why you need to really kind of sit down and evaluate the situation, see what they're asking for, and evaluate the market. A year ago, you couldn't even get a deal sold conditionally anywhere. If you weren't bringing somebody a firm offer, they would just say no thank you, and they would wait for somebody to come in with a firm offer. So things have changed. Tables have turned a little bit. Market's in a little bit of a shift. Buyers do have a few more options than they generally would. Okay, so what if they bring you a, they're asking you for some sort of abatement because of actual defects? First and foremost, I do not talk to my clients about it until the buyer's agent tells me what's wrong with the property and what they would like us to do to remedy the situation. Every time we do an inspection report, I get a call from the buyer agent. Oh my God, we've got the railing loose, there's an exhaust fan that needs to be replaced. And they're gonna list you everything that's in the inspection report. And congratulations, you're a good agent. You're doing the inspection to make sure your buyer's butts are covered. However, what do you want us to actually fix? And you better not come at us with the little rinky-dink weekend repairs, because that's for the buyer to do. And that's what I explained to my buyers is the inspection report is not here to just tell you to have a clean inspection report and for the seller to fix everything for you. That is not the case. You have to understand that even if you buy a new build home, an inspector will find deficiencies. The key is to make sure you understand what things you got to fix, tighten up, fix the GFI, different things like that. And also what issues could turn into bigger issues down the road and how to protect against that. That's really the main reason you're doing an inspection. So once you come at me and say, okay, we want your guys to reduce the price by $10,000. Okay, now that's an actual remedy that they want. I can approach my clients and sit down and discuss with them. This is what they want. What we'll do is we'll review the situation. What do you actually want us to fix? Or what is the reason you want the reduction? Is this an issue that's going to come up in any subsequent offers if this deal were to fall apart? And is the amount they're asking to get reduced equivalent to the repair? All right, so I'll give you an example. I've had times where somebody's come in and asked us for a $20,000 reduction for about a $3,000 repair. And we knew that they were just taking advantage of the situation. It didn't matter how slow the market was. We felt confident that even if we relisted the property with a reduced price or we'd fixed it, we've still got $17,000 to play with. So that's not gonna happen. However, if somebody says, we found a leak in the basement, it's gonna cost $10,000, and you get a quote and you can understand it's gonna cost about $10,000 to waterproof the basement, and you're not willing to reduce, well, even when you put it back on the market, someone's gonna see that and they're gonna ask for the exact same repair or reduction in purchase price. All right, so it's really for you to kind of sit down with your agent and review the situation of what's happening with your listing. How long were you in the market for before you got this offer? Were you getting a lot of activity? Are you confident you're gonna get another offer even close to the initial offer? And that's when you have to kind of decide and take a gamble. You always have to understand, if you don't accept what these guys are asking for, there is a chance they're going to walk. However, you never want to let them bully you, okay? So it's really for you to sit down and evaluate it. I would never recommend saying no off the bat. You always want to try and get the deal done with the people who have brought you an offer. They're obviously interested. They've got a deposit in with you. They've done their financing. They're almost there. The last thing you want to do is have a deal fall apart that you could have salvaged just because things got emotional and you had to go back to square one and you're back to showings again. You're doing the whole process all over again. All right, so just keep that in mind. Any questions or comment? Jacob@soldbyjacob.com, Facebook, Instagram, Sold by Jacob. As always, thank you so much for watching, and thank you everybody who donated to the Movember Foundation. We raised over $500 this month, which is absolutely awesome. All right, thanks so much, guys. Have a good one.